Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for June 12th, 2026. I'm Benji Fisher moderating, and also here are Max, who's sharing their screen, and we'll start off the discussion. Ralph Kohler, Simo Helston, and Thomas Howell. Go ahead, Max.
Thank you. Okay, so as requested, the issue number we're discussing is 3593502, which is to do with the old menu UI running out of memory, and my proposal to replace it with a new UI, which is JavaScript based and uses HTMX, and doesn't have a graceful Node.js fallback. So I'll show you what I've done later to cover that off. I don't think you want me to read this whole thing out because we can all do reading. Um, but the general premise is that once you get enough menu items, the it the back end, as it's trying to build the form for a single menu, just crashes, gives you a white screen of death in a lot of cases. And so in a Drupal 11 site, that would be going via structured menus and then editing. Let's use the main navigation menu here. Obviously, with only a few links, it's great. It works just fine. This is the form that you get when you don't have JavaScript enabled, and otherwise you get the table drag UI. But over time, with more menu items, this gets quite big and very slow. I've worked on sites where they used the menu to describe their entire information architecture, and that was in the long run quite a mistake. So here is a fresh install of 11, sorry, of main with a with the merge request. Sorry, straight off the merge request that is in that issue, and the first change to notice is in the drop button menu. I've sidelined the old menu UI to a secondary action, which indicates that that's the Node.js option. Um, I can't remember if I got rid of if I made this one only fire if you have JavaScript enabled. That could be an enhancement, or it might already be in. It was something that I thought of. And right now, there aren't any menu items because I forgot to do that in prep for this, but that's okay because there's a drush command um, that I can run, and that is part of
There's also a
here.
dr command you can run at this point, but I don't know if it has all the subcommands you want.
Yeah, all I want to do is I want to put in like 15,000 menu items, and I'm only sharing the window. Shall I? Why don't I stop that for a second? I'll share the screen so that you can see that happening. I'll
I
bring this down. It's probably just taking a moment to come through. Whoops. Let me know when you see it.
Yes.
Okay, so oh, okay, trash en menu tree UI. So there's a submodule in here, a test submodule that contains a seeding operation, um, just for testing purposes. Requires drush, so won't run on cause CI processes unless we add drush in. But like you just said, there's a now a new CLI, so I can translate it. But that only came out a few days ago, right?
Right. And it's still basically a proof of concept, where
Mm.
there are a bunch of follow-up issues to implement some of the existing Drush commands.
Well, I mean, this is just a proof of concept too, so um, and that's probably worth me pointing out is that the idea has been around in my head for a long time. It's my design. But I have had considerable help from an agent in creating this because last time I did it, I used a proprietary library. And obviously haven't done that this time, or I wouldn't be able to put it forward for inclusion in Drupal.
So Max, can you pause for a moment and let me just ask the other people at the meeting, do you want any clarification at this point? Is the context clear? If anyone is answering, they forgot to unmute themselves. Go ahead, Zemo.
Yeah, I think it's clear. So the problem seems like clear.
Yeah. I apologize for not having run this prior to the meeting. I was distracted. It'll only take another 30 seconds, I think.
It says
Um,
50 seconds, but
all right. Well, that's, oh, is that? No, that's elapsed. So you're right. Probably another minute. Um, let's see. Is there anything I can show?
a few months ago, we looked at a similar implementation. Well, I don't know how similar it is, but we looked at an implementation using HTMX for the token browser, which is
Hmm.
in a contrib module. So I think that both of these are enabled by the recent adoption in core of HTMX. Is that right?
Yes, I would say so. I'm now the subsystem maintainer for Token too, so I'm vaguely across that and need to get more across it.
And
Um,
at some point, you have to think about how much code these two implementations are going to share because they're very similar problems. And I think the
they are,
strategy of loading one level of the menu at a time and then dynamically loading um, submenus is common among the two.
I believe so. Yes. Um,
Thomas,
I
Thomas
think
has a comment question. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I had to get to my button. Um, so, thinking about the overall problem we're trying to solve here, one of the things that's long concerned me from a usability perspective is that there aren't guardrails around how many menu items you have at a particular level. Um, and so, how practically useful allowing virtually unlimited number of items is. So that's neither here nor there. But I feel like this um, addresses some of the issues with a ton of the proposed fix. And I know we need to learn more. Fixes some of the issues with that, but it doesn't fix the fundamental issue of giving good guidance to people who use the tool as to what are reasonable limits for the number of items to have at a particular hierarchical level. So just a side comment, I think.
yeah, I think personally I would leave that as guidance. I wouldn't want to start putting restrictions, not at least not into core around like how many items you can have at a certain level, because there's no way we can predict exactly what somebody's going to do with the menu system.
Yeah, that's certainly true, but Thomas is just recommending guidance, not restrictions.
Mm.
And I remember back in the day when I was contributing to the Vim text editor, Bram Molinar often referred to the UX guidelines or something, and there was apparently some document he had that no one else had, but it included guidance on just this, how many items you can have in one level of a menu.
Hmm. So what I've set out to try and resolve is a, making it possible to have a UI that works with as many menu items as you want in however, well, core supports up to 9 levels of menu. So as broad and
Can I
deep
call
as
out
that
one
allows.
thing, one initial impression looking at this page? I
Hmm.
noticed that visually it's very different from the current, but as you said, this is a proof of concept, so I think we shouldn't focus on that too much.
Yeah, sure. And I did it in Claro and in Gin. And it's mostly just raw um pieces that are then styled by those themes. But there's certain things like this indenting, these grab handles are different, stuff like that. So yes, very, very happy to change the visuals of it. Um, so I've just manually with the mouse opened a few of these levels. I can grab a piece and drag and drop it, say into here, and then it will disappear and appear because I dropped it directly on. It's now the first item. I can put things directly in. I can move them between levels and up and down levels at the same time. And then there's also being able to do that with the keyboard.
I think Ralph wants to say something.
Just just a brief question because I'm playing around with it alongside on a test install and that those switch toggle button in the expand column, are they functional?
I don't know yet. I think they are. They were at some point. I don't know whether I've broken it since, but I've just turned that one on. And if I go to the edit page, then that's no, it is here. Show as expanded. That one's been turned on. And if I go back and go to this one,
Oh,
it's not expanded. So yes, they are functional, and it's a column plugin, so you can make more columns
yeah, but
and inject them.
because I've tested
Mhm.
in Safari and there are not toggleable.
Ah,
So
yeah, I didn't do cross-browser development on this one yet.
okay. Just wanted to know if they are in one browser at least functional yet. So okay,
Yes.
good.
Well, they work here in Chrome. Um, but yeah, you're right. There's clearly bugs. Um, this is caused straight. This is the drop button directly from core. It sends the markup from the back end. Um, Instead of like composing it from a JSON object. Wait, no, sorry. The first time, the on first load, what you get, even without JavaScript enabled, is this, and the drop buttons. The drop down obviously doesn't work without JavaScript, but once you start loading new levels, these ones are created from the JSON response. So there's two templates there, and I think I called it out in the issue summary. That yeah, I think so. There's two templates that need to stay in sync for this to work, which isn't great, but I didn't find any other way around it so far. I did want to show keyboard command modal that shows how to move an item with the keyboard. And so if I select an item, I can hit space on this, and then I can say I want that to go in between these two items and hit enter. And there we go. And finally, what's the not, I mean, I'm not very good at Latin. With this search, it will take us directly to the item. And as you can see, if I go back in, you can tell where you're headed because it's showing the full path, breadcrumb path of each of the menu items.
And what's the difference between the link named after the menu item and the edit link for each of those?
Yeah, the edit link will take you directly to the edit form for that
Okay.
menu item. So could get rid of it, but it appeared at a certain point, and I was like, actually, that's not so bad. I might just leave that in as a discussion point.
Well, maybe we should pause for a moment there and ask people what they think of that decision. It's, on the one hand, it adds something to the search results, an extra line for each item. Um, on the other hand, it saves a click if what you want to do is edit the item,
I think it would be better over on the right-hand side.
in which case it wouldn't add a line. Go ahead, Thomas.
While I can see value in it, I was curious what happens when you hit enter um, with enough to filter it down a little bit. I was just curious outside of the search, what the partial search results look like after you've hit enter.
So if you're in the
Right.
search box and you hit enter, submit the search.
So if I go like so, whoops. Um, there's so many of them. There's going to be so many. So there's 7 results here, as we can see. If I hit enter now, it's it's not adding anything. It doesn't
Okay,
do anything.
so the search results are only showing here. You're actually not using the search to filter the menu below in any way. So,
No, no, it's navigation. So if I go and hit enter on one of these, it will take me to the location of that item.
okay.
And it looks like the search results were shown in an overlay that covered most of the window. Is that right?
Yeah, I it started off as a left sidebar and could easily go back there. I just liked this um, layout better myself.
I, I think it's reasonable in the fact that it's not filtering um, lends credence to keeping edit, even though when you've got like 50 results on something, um, that's creating an extra 50 lines in the results. But you can scroll through all 25, right? Like you can, yeah, I see you can.
Yeah,
How hard is that to do with keyboard?
that was keyboard. I
Okay,
was
that
just
was
holding tab just then.
okay. Yeah, it seems reasonable enough, but I defer to others.
Yeah, I guess one trap is that we focus on one aspect of it at a time, and you introduced it as the problem of menus where there are too many items and it affects performance and so forth. And so we're mostly thinking about reordering things um, and I wonder whether that's more common or whether actually editing the menu item is more common. I mean, neither one is very common in my experience, but
Hmm. The two things I really wanted to support were just being able to get to a menu item, and then putting it in the place where you want it to be.
right. Go ahead, Simo.
Uh, I noticed that it doesn't have that option to disable menu item. Is that actually something that's going away?
Oh, no,
Otherwise,
no, no, just haven't done it yet.
oh
I
yeah,
could add another column, plug in. There's an expanded column. I think the current. Oh, okay, so enabled.
yeah.
I could leave expanded in or remove it. I could add another plugin for enabled. They're like columns are it's extendable, so like contrib could add columns to this.
And also maybe it's not because it's not at this stage yet relevant, but there is when we change that drag handle, it used to be 4 directional arrows, and then we made a change that if it's not hierarchical, then it's only up and down. So this doesn't have that direction anymore, but that's kind of not maybe at this point relevant yet.
Now this one has just the drop location. Oh, and if you hover for long enough, it will open a layer. The challenge is
If you
dropping it.
switch to the tab of the other installation, you can see what Simo means. He's talking about the icon
Oh
used
yeah,
for the
this
drag. And if the
yeah
menu is not hierarchical, then it changes to just an up and down arrow instead of
is
the icon we see
is
here.
it possible? I didn't realize it was possible to have a non-hierarchical menu. I better go do some reading.
Yeah, that might apply to some other places where the same user interface element is. But
For example, on content types.
Oh, yeah, or entity queues, for instance. I've seen the up-down arrow. I didn't know whether it applied here.
Ralph, what did you want to say?
Um, One question and two observations basically. Um, I've tested here I've taken the administration menu and edited that. And there, for example, when I search for something, I get no results at all.
It's probably not picking up the configuration or plugin based menu items.
Ah,
It does support moving them
Okay.
and editing them. The ones that are movable, some aren't movable. Um, but I haven't yet got search to pick those up. It can.
Okay. Okay. But another observation in the context of those menus provided per default in the standard profile by Core, for example, yeah, the administration menu, that I consider it a bit odd to have basically the administration as basically a wrapper, as you can see here.
Mm,
Wouldn't it be better to have it flat, that you have basically then just what the content of that menu actually is? So you have content, structure, appearance, extent as the top level menu items as they are in the menu block, and not having another level above with administration. That feels a bit odd.
I think that's how the administration menu is built.
yeah, that's the way it works currently. Again, you can switch
Because
over to the Umami site and see that it works the same way.
because the parent link of this menu item is administration.
Ah, okay. Yeah, but it just visually in that list, it feels a bit odd to have simply that top level administration thing, and you are already on administration, and it feels strange.
Well, it's out of scope. That's a detail
Yeah, yeah.
that's not changing in this.
Yeah, but
Look, I
that
get
is
it.
something that threw me off basically and nagged me.
This it does feel weird and odd. So maybe there could be a rule like if there's less than 5 top level items, then automatically open the second level or something.
Yeah, that is the big change that introduced when you switch to the merge request. Go ahead, Thomas.
This is probably out of scope, and I may be misunderstanding something, or this may be something that already exists. So I apologize in advance. But one of the behaviors I remember historically when dealing with really crazy long menus was moving parts of the menu from one area to the next. So with the search menu links, as you've got that built there, if I wanted to move structure somewhere within reports, for instance, um, or we wanted to take the top one, and you wanted to cut it out and then paste it elsewhere. Is that possible using the search menu links at the top? So can you mark that for moving? Because I know you had shortcuts. I don't know if my question's making sense, but like if you wanted to move one part down using search intermediately, so you pick something, you basically mark it for cut, and then you search for where you want to take.
Okay. So I'll mark that one for cut,
Yeah.
and let's see if I can. No, no, it loses the state when you go to do a search because I think it's but what you could do is open up, okay, this is the one I want to cut, and I know that the other one that I want is around here somewhere, and then you've got, I mean, that there would be more differently named, but you would be able to go, okay, well, that now I've opened up the tree down to this one, and I can see the spot art that I want to put it. Oh, that's interesting. What's going on there? Never seen that before. And then cut it out and come down here and say, well, this, no, that only works with keyboard. You can't. Interesting. And
In
then
any
like
case,
place it in there.
it isn't it isn't what I would think of as a traditional cut and paste capability. It's something that has to be consecutive. You have to actually move it from point A to point B across the same tree.
Yeah. I mean, I could try putting in, I could try making the keyboard commands work better with the mouse, right? So like the code currently treats moving via keyboard and moving via mouse quite separately, whereas if this uh effectively cut, picking up the focused item and then being able to target the drop zone with the mouse, I can't see any reason why we shouldn't allow that.
Okay. Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
yeah, I think that's a really good point. So making the selection sticky or stable, even when you're using search to find a new place to put it, that seems like a valuable enhancement when
Mm,
things are really complicated, which is the use case.
yeah, and even like you said, sticky. So if I've marked this and then I scroll past it, maybe it should be like showing still, so I can see that I've still got it selected.
Yeah, that would be nice too. Ralph has a comment. Ralph, you're still muted.
Sorry. Sorry. I've played around a bit in the background again, and another observation, could you maybe simply navigate by keyboard by pressing the tab bar only, please?
Tab only.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah,
Um,
that's only going
uh,
through the controls here.
yeah, but because for me, I own in the tab order only the edit button is there on the administration menu. Um,
Hmm.
the toggle switches are unavailable, and I've tested now in Firefox and Edge as well, and they're also unavailable. They are more or less disabled, even though they're in the DOM. But I've also tested another detail in a screen reader in VoiceOver. If you enable that, somehow there are several problems. Sort of, you get a, or I can, you get basically some a redundant content or a structure. It is repeating it sometimes twice, the
Hmm.
label, and also it only announces the current state. But if you basically, for example, expand a collapsed um, element, then the change state isn't announced. It's just silence, and that way it could be potentially confusing that there is no change. Because so the state change isn't announced basically. And
Right.
another detail in the context of hotkeys, that is something we've discussed here in the meetings that could be relevant, because I'm unsure, because you have that keyboard commands link above the filter, and in other contexts in the Drupal admin interface, there aren't that kind of basically cheat sheets. And we've ideated a few weeks ago the following issue. I've shared it in the chat. It's about adding an API for hotkeys to Drupal core, and it could be useful in the context of this one as well.
Oh, nice.
So you have a central place where all the hotkeys and shortcuts for a certain page are auto-generated.
Very cool. The pace of change is so fast now. It's great. This isn't a usability question, but there's plenty of experience in this room at the moment. I first wrote this as a set of ES6 files to be compiled by, um, I think it was ES build, um, or maybe it was roll up. But that's not how core does it. So I translated it into um, a more Drupal way of doing things. Does anybody here know if there's plans for any kind of build process?
I'm not aware.
Fair enough. I'll go tug on Lee's sleeve. He might know.
So are there other parts of this you wanted to show off or specific questions?
That's really it. I've never done this before in terms of like a UX review. I don't know what to expect. So this is this is how far I've gotten, and I wasn't necessarily ready for UX review, but that feedback has been very valuable.
So let's see. I think the overall approach is probably a really good idea. Does anyone see any problems with the overall approach? Go ahead, Ralph.
In general, in regard of the overall approach, not necessarily a problem, but the thing that I struggle the most, and I still have to look up for the general best practice or the expected approach, is in regard of the keyboard navigation, because it felt a bit unexpected to navigate everything just by the arrow keys mostly, and
Mm.
I'm not sure. Also, in more quiet, and I have to check basically the oral interface again to see if you are aware that you're in a table, and so that it's basically more likely you switch to basically the arrow keys then, or yeah, just have to test a bit more. But that is the one
Mm.
thing that puzzled me a bit when I first tested it. It feels not that intuitive, just from a keyboard navigation standpoint.
Well, it's not a table, is it?
Uh, uh, kind of. It's not an actual HTML table, no. Um, I think it made up nested lists. Div soup. No, here we go. ULs, LIs, and yeah, divs and spans within the row. Um, I'd really love to understand what would feel intuitive. For instance, if instead of focusing on the whole um, open level, as it were, here with this, whether it should be the handle that is highlighted when it's yeah, maybe if the tab order is the handle and you can select it for to be moved, or and then the next tab item is the open close toggle, and then the next tab item is the checkbox or whatever we end up with here, followed by the drop box. Would if you were just tabbing along the row and then tabbing along the row all the way through the menu, would that uh, I don't use keyboard navigation with voiceover much, so I'm not familiar with that way of using things.
So Ralph, is that something you want to answer?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I have a few requirement pages over here I have to go through afterwards for the German accessibility reviews and what is expected in certain contexts, and just have to see what applies here. And then maybe I can give some more feedback in that regard. Um, but maybe just one thought. Usually, from my perspective, it's always good to provide more roads towards Rome. So not only make the navigation by the arrow keys, but maybe also provide, as you've said, also add more things to the tab order. And maybe, for example, another option could be also be for the reordering that basically you have a hotkey that basically activates if basically the focus order is on that drag button, that you make it active, and that way you switch to basically a arrow navigation that way, so you can move it up a level down as a child of another object or another element, menu item, and so forth. I'm not sure. I have to check it, but at the moment,
Hmm. Oh, sorry. So you mean instead of say activating this and then looking for the drop location, actually visually moving that whole row as you navigate with the arrow keys or tab button?
um, no, I meant basically, as you've said, if you include the drag button into the tab order. So if the focus is on the drag button, then same as you've said, instead of activating
Oh,
the
right.
entire row, then also activate the entire row. But when the focus is on that drag icon or button, then activate it there only. So basically, you
That
have basically so in the proximity of the context of the track button that there's also the function available to track it by keyboard that way.
mm, right. Yes, that makes sense.
But it's just an ideation right now. That's not a recommendation anyway.
Oh, yeah, cool. I mean, this is going to go through many iterations, I'm sure.
So Ralph, you asked a few minutes ago whether the user is aware that they're in a table, and maybe you're thinking of the non-sighted or low-sighted user. Do you think it's a problem that it's structured as nested lists rather than a table?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I just have to test it afterwards. Again, it's just intuitively it felt odd or unexpected, what kind of keyboard interaction is necessary to get from A to B. But, and therefore I'm also unaware because screen reader users can only orient by basically what is announced programmatically in the oral interface. And that way, if the context that is announced basically cues the person that they have, for example, to use now the arrow keys.
Mm.
That is basically the
But
thought behind.
that's why I put the keyboard commands right at the top of the page, but they're they're still easy to miss.
Yeah. And it's good that they are on top before basically the list starts and the filter, but still they could get missed because if somebody jumps right into that list and passes by that keyboard command link, then they could get missed.
Mm. Yeah, certainly want it to be as intuitive as possible.
Would it help if we made the keyboard commands and the search box sticky so that when you scroll, they'll still be on the page?
To be honest, from my perspective, for sighted users, it would be rather annoying, probably. And for screen reader users, I'm not sure if it would make much of a difference because it's just a visual repositioning, but programmatically in the DOM, they're still at the same position.
I tend to agree. If we start ending up with multiple columns, it might be worth making the header sticky, perhaps.
Yeah.
Plenty of work still to be done.
Um, Another detail to note if basically, or two details in that context is also the gap between basically the menu item label that MTU Ahmed Alikip. You need then to go over to the toggle switch and the edit button. So if somebody is basically using Zoom software or has visual issues, that gap is pretty significant.
Mm,
And also and those two columns on the right are rather dense and tight, while the other menu link is quite broad. Um,
yeah.
and also just at the moment, if you just tap, that's a problem in core. It's nothing has nothing to do with your merge request right now or the experimental module, but if you just tap on the edit button downwards, okay, you have now the drop button as well that has some context, but with just the edit button within the administration menu, there you have just edit, 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 edit without any context, and that is also problematic.
Yes. Now I could um upgrade this um so that it had an announcement for the uh what you're editing, but like you say, this is a core problem.
Yeah.
I'm taking this markup directly from core in the back end.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the other way around, it could be again become redundant if you add um, basically the context to the edit label as well, because then you have basically on the if somebody just taps through the basically the focusable elements, then it is okay and necessary. But on the other hand, if somebody um, taps or goes through the row and with the visual cursor and it says home and then edit, then if you add the context to the edit button as well, then you have home, edit home, and that way it becomes again redundant again. So it's a slippery slope either way. So
It is. Although if the tab targets are the handle, the toggle, and the drop down button, the we haven't read this out necessarily. We'd probably want to put it on at least the first one.
yeah, but that's again the point. Depending on the markup, if you have a table, then you know that you're basically inside the row for MTU,
Mm,
Amit, Alikip.
okay. I Yeah, I could play around with making this a table. I can see that it works here. This somehow is a table. It seems wild to me, but I guess there must just be a little bit of margin in front of these items.
Yeah,
So like
actually,
that would be a significant improvement, would it, if this was a table?
Not sure. Would have to test it first
Okay.
and compare it. It's as I've said, just ideation and
Hmm.
no hard recommendations from my end yet.
What what
so
what was there some way to see where the menu link is? What is the path for the menu link? So that if there is
Uh,
like with the current, it's linked to the path current implementation. So
oh, like so where is this coming from?
no, if you go to the current version of the menu,
All right.
so there you can see like from the links. So you can see that where they are what are the targets of the menu link?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because if
Yeah,
you have
because
sometimes you might have two with the same label and then different or targets or something like that even.
and that gives you a bit more context because it gives you the full path of the page, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes
can
sense.
you go back to that page for a second?
Yep. Whoops.
And if you open up one of those drop downs in the operations column, there's the add child link. So I
Hmm.
think you said that in your implementation, you're getting the drop button from the back end. So I guess the add child link isn't in the what is it? The headless menu, whatever that's called.
Yeah, that's interesting. Uh, hmm.
So that's actually something I'd like to fix. But I obviously it's not in scope for your issue, but I'd like to have another issue opened to make sure that the add child link is available. What the decoupled menu? That's what the initiative was called,
Yeah.
right?
Um, hmm. I'll double check what's going on there because it's like I said, I had a lot of help from an agent with this, so that's what I believed I had done. But I dig a bit further into that code and check it. But you could be right. It could just be that because it's implemented differently in the headless menu. Which one would you go with? Would you go with like changing to add child or changing to just the regular actions that belong to a I suppose it's really useful to be able to go, okay, this is where I want it to be. I want this one to have a child, isn't it? Rather
Well,
than going to add link and then having to find your spot again.
that's why we added it. And I did that myself, so that's why I'm so interested in this detail. And it
Hmm.
was another enhancement to deal with the problem of having too many menu items.
Well, you're in luck. I'm the menu UI subsystem maintainer, so I can do that
We're
potentially.
getting near the end of the hour. Um, 7 minutes left. Anything else people want to talk about, try out? So, yeah, just to summarize, I think the overall approach using HTMX, um, loading one level of the menu at a time seems like a good solution to the problem. Um, you know, Probably the biggest question is whether to use nested lists as the markup as you currently do now, or whether you should emulate the current table-based approach. And Ralph will probably uh, come up with some guidance there once he has time to look at it. Um,
Hmm.
and tab order is something that needs to be paid attention to. And what how you navigate with just tabs or with tabs plus cursor keys. Um, and I guess we had some enhancement requests that when you select something for drag and drop, that should persist even if you then do another search.
Hmm.
Anything else? Let me go ahead,
It
Thomas.
was
I don't know if this is possible. I should have mentioned earlier, undo. I don't know if in your it like the same way we can cut and select something. I don't know if it's possible to undo.
don't see why not. Just keep a history in the local storage and reverse the
Um,
operation because like there's an immediate effect once you drop something. There is a call to the back end and it actually saves the change and brings back the new piece of menu. But like if we know where it came from, then we should be able to at least cover one undo.
yeah, so that would be the last enhancement that I would suggest, because again of the use case, my recommendations are in context of the use case of a lot of menu items.
Hmm.
And related to that, if you switch over again to the Umami tab, um, if you click and drag to reorder things, then two things happen. Um, you get some special highlighting for the thing you've been moving. Well, move it somewhere and
Hmm.
let go. Um,
Oh yeah.
and as I said, this is related to the question of undo. You you have to click save at the bottom of the form before um, that takes effect. And do we want to preserve that behavior? Or yeah, how much happens before you click save? Do you even have a save button on your new interface?
No, there's no save because the when you drop it, the change is immediate.
Uh-huh.
And because we're pulling levels individually, um,
Oh, we
I'd have
only
to
have three
think.
minutes left and we just opened a
I'd
can
have
of
to think pretty hard
worms.
about that one.
I think Thomas raised his hand first.
Yeah.
I can defer to next week. Um, uh, just to come back to it, I like the new way of doing things. I'm not a huge fan, as long as you've got undo or history. Um, the way you're proposing, I like better. The save button is a really massive commit. So I just think we need to dig into the use case of if there is no save button, what are all the possible edge cases that we need, important edge cases that we need to address. That's all.
Yeah, go ahead, Ralph.
Yeah, and in the same vein, it's basically without, is the user aware that there is no, if they have no visual context, is the user aware that there is no save button and that for example, if someone is new, doesn't know basically that functionality and makes significant changes to the structure of a certain menu with a few hundred menus and things, I make my changes and after that I'll save. And then all of a sudden they realize, oh, I already done those changes because those changes are saved immediately. And that way, how to revert back might be
Oh, yeah.
problematic.
And every time they make a change, they're probably clearing a bunch of cache for a lot of pages if they're making changes high up at a higher level.
Yep.
And Simo?
Yeah, and also kind of if like having this kind of a do it like switching things or so that you don't end up in a unwanted state with the menu. So if you need to move several items from one place to another, so you can do it like at one go to switch the content of the menu instead of changing it, like having it in between states. If the editor edits the menu, like usually in production.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there needs to be a staging layer like this one.
And that would certainly be less disruptive. It would act more like what people are used to.
I'm very quickly imagining right now in the 30 seconds I have left something a bit like Layout Builder where it's stored in the back end for a certain length of time.
Yeah, and that does bring us to the end of the hour.
Mm,
Thanks a lot. This looks really exciting. Can't wait to have it available on my live sites. Um, and uh,
thanks.
and everyone is free to comment on the issue. Um, any other last words?
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you
Especially Max. Thank you.
and have a
Thank all of you
relaxed
for
weekend.
your time and input. Well, I mean, it's midnight for me at the moment. I'm not going to be able to do this every Friday. Um,
Well, you're certainly welcome anytime you can.
thanks.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Have a nice weekend,
You too.
everyone. Bye bye.
See you later.